It's time we talk about Sunderland. In this video, we are going to discuss just how Regis Le Bris has implemented not just an effective style of play, but also an extremely entertaining one too. We're going to chat about pouncing wide triangles, the roles of two championship wonder kids, and the fantastic development of individuals that looked a shadow of their true ability last season. Let's go. Before we get going on all of that, I've got to tell you over 60% of the people that watch this podcast on a regular basis aren't yet subscribed. We're getting closer to 10,000 subscribers, so if you could do that, it would be much appreciated. Leave a like too, and really importantly, leave your thoughts in the comments down below. I'll be replying and responding to all of those as per usual. Sunderland fans, I imagine spirits are pretty high. Something that I've been so impressed by is how Reggie's come in and built an identity that suits this Sunderland squad. I think we're so used to these plug-and-play, high numbers of possession, total control, and although these are very successful approaches for many, there's something quite refreshing about this quirkiness. When we looked at this Sunderland squad at the start of the season, the general perceptions were quite similar. It's a young, energetic, and no doubt talented group, but it needs direction and it needs identity. And that's where we introduce the new manager, Regis Le Bris, because he's done exactly that. The appointment might have taken a while, but the alignment between the current squad and the key principles of a Reggie team looked like the perfect match before a ball was kicked. It's only now we're seeing it all come together. Fintan O'Reilly, who primarily covers French football for Total Football Analysis, said this about Le Bris when he was in charge of Lorient in France. He likes his team to play in transition and is very comfortable without the ball, knowing the threat they can pose immediately on regaining possession will be dangerous. We see Lorient playing without the ball more than their opponents quite a lot, conceding possession, often with Le Bris happy to bet on his team's counter-attacking ability. Sound familiar? I thought so too. This idea that an attack-minded, front-footed, entertaining team has to swallow a team up with a ludicrous number of passes is simply wrong, and this Sunderland squad, managed by Regis Le Bris, is proving that currently. It comes down, in my opinion, to three really important questions. The first, how quickly can you steal possession effectively and transition from back to front? The second, how good are the quality of passes when you get inside the final third? And finally, how clinical are you in front of goal? If that's too wordy, I'll break it down further into keywords and phrases. The first, steal possession effectively, transition, quality of passes, and clinical. And if you ask me how to describe this Sunderland team right now, most of those words would be used. Enough words used though. Let's discuss some of the goals. We're not going back too far yesterday. This is the second goal against Oxford United and pretty much ticks off everything we've just spoken about. It all starts from an Oxford goal kick where Sunderland look to press high and in numbers. They've done it all season. They see great joy in doing such a thing. Within seconds of Oxford deciding to build up down the left through Elliot Moore, the home side have already created a numerical overload with the intention to steal possession aggressively. As soon as Moore plays the ball into Goodrum, Dan Neil knows if he does win this duel, Sunderland are in a brilliant position to create a goal-scoring opportunity. Oxford would be at sea, and Sunderland can take full advantage. This next screenshot shows Volk's rusher pass under pressure. It goes straight to Hume before Neil plays a beautiful ball over the top, and the finish, well, it's phenomenal. But that move doesn't miss one of Sunderland's unique elements. They stole possession effectively. They transitioned really well. The quality of pass from Neil was incredible, and the clinical finish was beautiful. I think I've spoken about this goal before on a roundup. I think it's such a good example. I'm going to use it again. When Sunderland beat Portsmouth a few weeks ago, this was their third goal and was my favourite of the bunch because, like I teased at the start of the video, it defined their identity. This screenshot shows Pompey comfortable in possession. Sunderland are defending deep in their usual 4-4-2 shape against the ball. But then something changes, and that change is Chris Rigg's decision to pounce aggressively. Now, on reflection, Dozell's touch is a poor one, but if you watch it back, Rigg has already made that call to pull the trigger before the central midfielder touches the ball. It's split-second decision-making, and that's how you steal possession effectively. If we fast forward just a few seconds more, Mayenda has driven brilliantly into space and made such a high quality final third pass. We're using any more familiar words and phrases? I think we are. In fact, I can tell you Sunderland currently have the fourth highest percentage for successful passes inside the final third. But if you look at the amount of passes the others are making, theirs are significantly higher. So with far less product, Sunderland's successful output is comfortably among the best. When you think of some of the best partnerships in the Championship, I imagine quite a few come to mind. Is the average age of that partnership 18 years old though? Well, only if you're thinking about Jobe Bellingham and Chris Rigg, because these two are a joke, and the levels they're showing at such a young age at this level is absolutely frightening. We know individually what they offer, but as part of a really well-oiled machine, it's important we delve into their crucial roles. As this screenshot shows us, this season they've been often used as two advanced eights in front of a single six. You can see Jobe Bellingham on this left-hand side and Chris Rigg on this right-hand side, playing such a key role in the way Sunderland build up in attack. As I spoke very briefly about earlier, Reggie has introduced something that I've nicknamed Reggie's pouncing wide triangle. Sunderland love having the ball in the wide areas, and so many of their goals have come from that position, but it's how it gets into those areas that I want to speak about further. These are the season heat maps of both Jobe Bellingham and Chris Rigg. Jobe Bellingham's is on the left and Chris Rigg's is on the right. And something that stands out straight away is how wide we see so much of their action. From two central midfielders, they're not very central. This isn't normal because actually what they're doing is looking for half spaces ready to make up that final point of our trusty triangles that I'm now going to actually speak about. When we look back at this same screenshot, it should now make so much more sense. So again, I'm going to highlight Chris Rigg on this right-hand side and Jobe Bellingham on this left-hand side. The triangle is this one here. The fullback with the winger, Patrick Roberts here, and Chris Rigg making that triangle. And then on the other side, you've got Cirkin, Mundell, Bellingham making the triangle like so. And by doing that, you can press and squeeze in those wide spaces, but also build up really effectively with overloads on both sides. This means in the central area, Dan Neil can then simply pick which side he wants to pass to. And as the pass map from yesterday shows, it's normally one of the advanced fullbacks that receives the ball first. Trai Hume, playing at right back yesterday, attempted the most passes on the pitch, completed the joint most and racked up 7 progressive passes. And the pass map also shows plenty of triangles. Reggie is all about the triangles, especially in the wide positions of the pitch. And if you still don't believe me and you want eye test evidence, I get it. Go back and watch the goals that Sunderland have scored so far this season, because so many of them start from those parts of the pitch. But the way they get into those positions for me is just as impressive, because everybody plays a part. I couldn't delve into the early success of Sunderland's season and not mention just how impressive Patrick Roberts has been, because this is a player that's found new levels since the new manager has walked through the door. From his crucial work against the ball that we will definitely explore in just a moment, to his dynamic abilities with it, his importance cannot be understated. This FB Ref graphic compares him to every player that isn't in Europe's big 6 leagues, and you can see just how well he fares. The right winger sits in the top 4% for progressive carries and the top 19% for successful take-ons. Remember, those metrics are not comparing him to others in the Championship, but actually his positional peers in the men's next 14 biggest competitions. Those numbers against some of the players that fall into those filters is so impressive. But as we spoke about earlier, these Sunderland players need to be just as effective out of possession, because springing a wide press is so common, as just an example. Compared to all other wingers in the Championship this season, Robert sits in the top 11% for tackles won, the top 20% for duels won, and the top 18% for recoveries made. The guy is a workhorse and is far more than just a winger with tremendous output. He's got that, don't get me wrong, but in a system that requires you to drop your ego in a way and focus on the unit and the team, Roberts is absolutely the perfect player. And there we go, that is my Sunderland deep dive, trying to focus on the bits and pieces that you might have missed. But, like I said, let me know in the comments down below if there's anything I've missed. I'm sure there is. I'll be replying and responding to all of those as per usual. Leave a like, subscribe on the road to 10,000 subscribers, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Take care.